We'll talk about it in the meantime as trial attorney Misty Marris joins us here in New York. We'll also get to Dominic Patton. Dominic, the executive editor for Legal, Labor, and Politics at Deadline. Stand by, Dominic. We'll talk to Misty about the legal here, the legalese. She's our legal eagle, after all. Just to go through some of what Laura's saying, we'll put up on the screen this proposed bail package from Diddy's team, and we'll get into the prosecutors and these papers, these notes in a moment as well. But that's what they want. Give us some odds here before this wraps up.
Well, it's pretty unlikely. You know, this is the third attempt. The difference here in this particular bail package is 24/7 security team who would oversee Diddy, limit any of his communications with anyone. Remember that the issue for the judges previously who denied him bail was that he might have access to witnesses or alleged victims, and that the only way that could be controlled was behind bars. So adding this 24/7 element was the defense's way to cure that. However, now we know what the prosecutors are arguing, that while he's behind bars, he's actually surreptitiously engaging in communications with these three-party phone calls and by getting the telephone code numbers for other prisoners. So he's trying to find loopholes and evade detection from behind bars, which is really going to undercut that entire argument from a defense perspective.
Not good, obviously. We'll put up the article that talks about what Laura was reporting on, the fact that prosecutors have been ordered not to use papers taken from his jail cell for now. See, a federal judge ordered prosecutors not to use these papers taken from the cell of Diddy until he rules on defense claims. They are trial preparation materials protected by attorney-client privilege.
Yes, this is actually really important, Connell, and this could impact the entire case moving forward. So where we are right now, you have no expectation of privacy in jail. Your cell can be raided at any given moment without due process, without cause, without probable cause, which would be the standard if somebody were to get a warrant to come to your home. That can happen at any time, but there is a carve-out for privileged documents. Those are off limits. The way that it works is once records are seized, documents are seized, it goes through a filter team, a liaison between the Department of Corrections and the U.S. Attorney. So here, what the defense says is that these handwritten notes were privileged. They got into the hands of prosecutors. Judge is saying, you got to destroy them, and we're not going to use them for the purposes of this bail hearing. They're not going to be a part of the analysis. But the question is, can they be a part of the trial moving forward? Can they impact the case? And the judge has already said that they're going to go through part of that analysis at today's hearing because there's a question mark about when that marking of legal was put on some of those documents. And so there's a question about the timing. The pads were marked legal. The defense attorney had them on the desk. But in some photographs of the seizure, no marking.
So
there's a question
mark in the spring when the trial starts, quite possibly.
So
we'll see. Man,
well, the defense is going to say this should dismiss the case, by the way. They'll make that application.
They'll file. But
unlikely to be successful. More likely, anything's precluded, meaning it will never come into the courtroom if there were to be an issue.
Interesting. Let's bring Dominic in on this conversation now. And there's a couple of different things. I want to get your take on all of this. But as I do so, I'm going to put this up from Diddy. This claim, this video, which I mean, many of us have seen, the Cassie video, which is just really, really hard to watch. Now there's this claim that it was edited. We know that even before Combs was arrested, the government possessed, and this part of it is retracted on the video, but on the account here, but confirming his account of March 5, 2016 incident, which took place at the Intercontinental Hotel. But instead of presenting that video to the court, government submitted an altered video. This is a still from that, and you know, I've watched it. You probably have as well. What about this claim, Dominic, and how it works into all this? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think like what Misty was talking about before, this is really a parsing of hairs, and I say that as a man who has none, is that you're talking about how you can view these things. There's the issue that you brought up earlier of the documents that seem to be marked legal, and therefore anyone would assume rightly they're protected, and now don't seem to be marked legal and therefore would not be protected. Now you also have the question of this video where the government, where the defense, pardon me, is saying, hey, I know what you think this looks like, but it's been edited. He wasn't beating Cassie Ventura up in a hallway. He was just trying to get his cell phone back that she was running off with, and that he has a right to that. Now, the prosecution will say, yes, we did edit parts of this video because it's rather long and we wanted to show something that has already been shown in its full nature publicly on CNN, NewsNation, and many others. So there's a real argument here about, it's almost like, and we all know this in these celebrity trials, it's finding that little bit of untruth in the truth. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. But to that version in this, I mean, come on, man. This is your third time at swing for this. You know, what they're trying to do here is a very difficult to pull off. When you talk about this new addition to the bail package of a 24/7 security team, of course, the question comes is, well, who's paying for that security team? And as we all know, when someone's paying you, you maybe tend to look the other way sometimes. And that's the worry the prosecution is bringing to the judge. And what, you know, our reporter on the scene is telling me is becoming a very contentious hearing.
Yeah, that's it probably is. Maybe that's why it's taking a little while here, 3:09 p.m. Eastern time. It's over an hour. What about the video, Misty?
Well, the video, I'm not surprised the defense is making this argument. Dominic makes very good points. The evidentiary issue that is likely to be raised when you say a video may have been edited, it's not necessarily what's edited, what's not. It's the chain of custody of that video. Where was it? And is that video a true and accurate version? And can it be accounted for every step of the way, every hand it's been in, every place it's been? And it's an argument that's made to ultimately preclude something from trial if chain of custody can't be proven. So this, to me, seems like the beginning of what the defense would raise with respect.
No, I get it, but I mean, just from a normal person's point of view, it's hard to not see what we see.
We saw what we saw.
Right, we saw what we saw in the video, which was, you know, this is Diddy kicking her in the hallway.
Right, unless it's like animation that's made that happen. I don't know what we're saying is edited that changes the actual impact or import of what was seen in that video.
You mentioned Contentious, Dominic. Thoughts on how this, maybe we'll get some news here, but thoughts on how this kind of wraps up? And, you know, as you said, third time, so, and the witness
look,
tampering
you know,
stuff.
We've talked about this before. Obviously, a Deadline, we write about it a lot. I mean, maybe. I mean, you guys know just as well as I do. Weird stuff happens in courtrooms, and people have different takes on things, and they feel that maybe they've gotten to a point on this. But I think that one thing we're definitely getting here is this judge is getting very frustrated. This issue of was the documents noted legal or not noted legal when they were actually done in the jailhouse raid, that is a thorn in his claw about this, because let's be clear, that is a form of misrepresentation, and that can have a terrible effect upon any defense here. There's a lot of unanswered questions here in this, and the reality is they're going to have to find a way to get this to trial.
Right.
As Missy said, like, this is not the end of this. If this bail hearing does not go Diddy's way, they are going to chip away at this endlessly, that somehow the government has been underhanded. They have tried various tactics already. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to say, oh, the government or Homeland Security leaked that video of the 2016 assault in the hallway to CNN. And the government said, no, we never even had it. And you knew we never had it, so why are you saying this? Again, perception can be reality just as much in a courtroom as it can be on the streets.
We'll make a final point, Misty, and then we got to go here.
Yeah, something that we can expect is going on in that courtroom. The judge made 2 points the night before. One, defense has to explain that legal marking and the when. The other, how is this case different than former CEO of Abercrombie, Mike Jeffries, who is out on a $10 million bond that was not contested by prosecutors? That was the question the judge posed to prosecutors. That's likely part of the argument today. Make the distinction, for me, is what the judge said.
All right, we'll see. We get any news, so Laura will pass it along, and we'll be back to this topic. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Misty. 12 past the hour.